Let's now concentrate on a real estate counter, and this is HDIL. HDIL has been on a tear for the last whole month. There was the expectation that the earnings will be good, and the company did live up to the expectations. I think that's a month-long chart, and you can see that the stock is up 50% in just a month. Today itself it's up 3%. It's not with a good set of earnings, and of course lots of hopes also building up that financing needs of this the entire real estate space may become better if all the buzz is to be believed that when it comes to REITs, the listings will become possible, and there will be tax swaps thrown in for developers. To talk to us about what's the expectation building up for the real estate sector, we are joined by Mr. Hariprakash Pandey. He is Vice President Finance and Investor Relations at HDIL. He is joining us on the phone line from Mumbai. Mr. Pandey, thank you so much for joining us on NDTV Profit. I want to first start with the kind of performance your company has come out with for the fourth quarter. It's been a complete turnaround. You've managed to come back into the black. How did you manage this?
No, I think we have been focusing for last 2 quarters on our cash flows. Even in the third quarter and the fourth quarter, we have positive cash flows. Fourth quarter, we had a positive cash flow from operation of more than 400 crores, which has helped us entirely to reduce our debt. So it's more focus on internal accruals, executions, some of the asset sales which were not doing good for us. So these are some of the steps which we took in last 2 quarters, and that's the result that we were able to reduce our debt on a standalone basis by more than 22%, and on a consolidated basis by more than 15%.
Right. Did also some new projects come on board? Did you receive fresh clearances? Has that also helped your top line and bottom line?
No, we follow a project completion method of accounting. So these were all the projects which were started nearly 3 years back. But over a period of last 6 months, the approval processes in Bombay has improved. We have just recently received an final environmental clearance certificate for one of our larger township projects in Vasai region. So yes, the approval processes have improved. Performance in the fourth quarter was due to our focus on internal accruals. Our debtors declined by more than 500 crores during the year, and these all numbers have helped us to bring our consolidated debt down by more than 400 crores.
Right. In your fourth quarter, Mr. Pandey, the company repaid about 400 crores worth of the debt. So what's your current debt level, and how much are you planning to reduce in FY15?
On a consolidated basis, we have a debt of around 3,500 crores on a gross level basis. On a net, if we net cash, our net debt is around 3,300 crores. And during the current year, again, we target to bring down our debt by another 600 to 800 crores, because we expect that this year again we'll have a positive cash flow from operations, and most of it will go towards the growth and debt reduction. So by the end of the year, maybe March 2015, we would be somewhere around 2,500 crores on a consolidated basis.
Right. And what are your key plans and what is your growth target for FY15? Any key projects lined up for FY15?
We have a combination of projects, including an affordable housing project on the outskirts of Bombay, where we plan to launch around 4 million square feet during this year. Also, one of our verticals, which is an FSI sales, we have been seeing a very strong demand from the local developers. So we also look at selling FSI in Vasai region. Within the Bombay, we'll be launching at least 2 to 3 projects, and the total area would be anywhere around 1.5 to 2 million square feet.
Right. Two-part question. How much sales did you get from FSI in the fourth quarter? What is the projection of sales of FSI in FY15?
I think last year we had around 80% of our sales coming in from residential portfolio. This year, I think moving ahead, our residential portfolio will be having around 60%, and 40% we expect from the FSI sale vertical to kick in.
Right. You spoke about launching 2-3 projects this year. Can you give us a timeline? Which quarters are we talking to, and when will the revenues from these start kicking in?
See, the revenues per se, we follow a project completion method of accounting, so revenues will not kick in unless and until the project gets completed, but cash flows will definitely start contributing from the second quarter onwards. Post monsoon, we will going to launch at least 3 projects. So from second quarter onwards, we will see the cash flows for this project.
Right. Now, we understand that the sector as a whole was under a tremendous pressure in the last financial year. There is no single window approval system. Approvals take a lot of time. What are the key challenges do you think that the new government should immediately address to bring in a turnaround?
I think the most important aspect which has already happened is the stability. And real estate being a second largest sector in India and more than 150 industries are linked to it, we have immediately seen a kind of a positive response because there is a general feel-good factor. The confidence level is up. Government wants to focus more on urbanization. They want to develop 100 more cities. So a lot of initial steps which the government has taken is a positive steps. They have focused more on affordable housing. There is a focus also on controlling the inflation, which will help us maybe in lower interest rate, maybe in 3 to 6 months' time. So I think, yes, policy paralysis was one issue, but then again, it's a state issue. But from a central government point of view, I think on a macro economy, if there is a revival in GDP growth, if there is a focus on affordable housing, if they make some of the land policies easier, I think the real estate sector will do well in next 2 to 3 years.
Right. Let's talk about the prices now, which have been stagnant for quite some time. What is the outlook? What is your expectation considering the high inventory level? Do you expect some correction coming in?
No, I don't think so. There will be any corrections because of, in fact, if you look at the real estate prices in tier 1 cities for last 1 year, it has been stable. And in fact, the input cost has been rising up. Even in place like Bombay, there has been a lot of approval cost which has been put by the state government in terms of fungible FSI. So I don't see real estate prices really correcting from this level. In fact, the prices will move up. We have seen in last couple of months there is more inquiries happening. So I would say that in next 3 to 6 months, I would not be surprised if prices move up from here by at least 10 to 15%.
Even when the inventory level is high?
I don't think so. The inventory level is high. There is actually a misconception. See, we don't have a completed units available with us. What we have is an under construction project. So I don't really see the inventory level being too high for prices to fall. And as I said, the prices will stay for 2 years. And going forward, I think the prices will move up.
There is also talk, Mr. Pandey, that when it comes to REITs, the government will throw in tax benefits also. Do you think this will really help the funding requirements of the real estate sector? Will it help you pay down your debt?
Too early to say whether it will help us to kind of reduce our debt because it largely depends on what kind of rental portfolio and what kind of asset allocation we do towards the commercial property in next 3 to 6 months. But on the policy itself, it's been there for a while now. There has been some talks that the government is planning to bring some incentives in terms of tax regime for it, kind of simplifying the whole tax structure for the REIT. But I would still say that it has a long time to go. So I would not expect anything happening in next 3 to 6 months unless and until we have a full clarity on the structure and there are multiple level of taxations involved into it. But yeah, it's a good signal from long-term point of view. For a developer to hold on to asset and look at asset monetization, I think it's a very strong stimulus. So maybe in next 2 to 3 years, we will see a much more benefit, but too early to say that whether it can bring any kind of debt reduction or any benefits immediately.
Right. Very briefly, Mr. Pandey, last question. What's the latest on the contract between HDIL and the Mumbai International Airport? Where does the matter stand at this point in time?
I think the project is still in arbitration, so I don't have anything more to add on to it. The project is still going on under the arbitration route. So once we have more clarity on the arbitration, then we can share.
All right. Many thanks, Mr. Hariprakash Pandey from HDIL for speaking to us here on NDTV Profit and sharing with us your outlook. The stock is currently up little over 3% or so. On this note, we'll slip into a very short break, but we will be joined by the management of PVR.